Redditors, how far have you gone in a truth or dare game? Me and my best friend used to play this all the time, but he would always find ways to get out of meeting his dare. For example, I dared him to run around the block naked, so he took a toy block into the bathroom, stripped, and ran around it. Things like that. One night, I got tired of it, so I dared him to run down to the end of the street naked and to actually do his dares for once. He agreed, but only on condition that I accept his dare to stand on the front lawn naked. We agreed, so we both grabbed towels, stripped down and went outside. On the count of 3, we both dropped our towels. He ran down the street and I stood there looking around like a very skinny, pale idiot. After about 25 seconds, I hear what sounds like a yell, and the next thing I know, he's running back as fast as he can screaming that I need to get inside and fast. It turns out that, as soon as he reached the corner, a cop car had driven past. Needless to say, we didn't venture out for a while, and the game was over. I told the truth. While in a hot tub with 3 chicks, I ended up diving for an ice cube between this girl's DD breasts, and had to get it before it melted. Mission accomplished. Diving. Face mouth only. No hands. Edit. To all those saying I should have taken my time blah blah. I take my truth or dare very ducking seriously. And to the naysayers, I can assure you, no one lies on the internet. No one. I ended up jacking another guy off. A group of us were playing fairly low-key truth or dare. We eventually stopped. Some people left. Others started playing on some games console. Me and this guy sat on the bed watching, with our lower bodies under the quilt. He dares me to grab his D. I do. He dares me to jack him off. I do. So yeah. 8 years later, we're both gay. Made out with a gay guy for a straight minute. He did some male modeling. I'm also a totally straight guy, but this guy knew how to kiss. The girls went crazy, and I got a threesome that night, just because of that guy. Best wingman ever. Edit. FFM. It was almost a foursome with 3 girls, but one had to bail last minute. D equals. Played a game with some kids when I was 10. They dared me to never go on a date. 13 years later and I'm still winning. My parents told me my existence was based on a truth or dare game. Flirt with my gay dean at the school Halloween party. Unfortunately, he thought I was serious. It made the rest of my college career kind of awkward. Lost my virginity, on camera, using a glow-in-the-dark condom. I didn't even remember this the next morning until I was shown on video. To make matters worse, this was my first time getting drunk. At least it was with an older girl, so she actually had an idea of what to do. Edit. Why does this happen to me that every time I use a throwaway anonymous account? This one is for ladderburners. I get tons of calm on my comments. My brother was dared to lick a dog's D, and he did it, and would never let him forget it. I don't wanna brag or anything, but I hugged a guy when I was 11 years old because of this game. Actual truth or dare. Fondled a boob and later a friend pooped in the forest naked. One-on-one truth or dare, obviously being used as a prelude to 6. I ate a bar of deodorant. Had to get my stomach pumped. What the hell? All I did was lick a rug. I want a threesome. Kissed my neighbor on the cheek. We were such scandalous 7-year-olds. A boy in my school got dared to finger his dog, and he did it. Years of bullying tortured that boy. After a late night movie run, some friends and I decided to play truth or dare at the deserted mall. We were on the 2nd level above a play place daycare for younger children. They dared me to jump into the ball pit, and I thought it'd be fine because the jump was no more than 15 feet and I'd be cushioned for my fall. They actually removed them every night and I had the ugliest bruise on my ass for weeks. Another time I went skinny dipping in an house that was supposedly still for sale. Somebody had already moved in, and he was a pastor. Fun. Edit. Sorry, I meant deserted as in it was after hours and nobody else was there. One time I was dared to seduce a friend's mother. It worked. My friend dared me to put icy hot on my D. At the time, I didn't know what icy hot was. so obviously I had no idea what gonna happen to my tackle. It was in the middle of the winter in Montana, and the end result was me running outside and stuffing the entirety of my genitalia into a snowdrift. That actually made it worse. I was pretty much done with Truth or Dare after that. Edit. Found a YouTube video of some kids doing the exact same thing. Snow and all. This is an incredibly accurate depiction of what happened to me. Fast forward to 1:15 for the good stuff. I stripped down to just my socks and shoes and ran down the street screaming Sarah Connor. Sex with my friend's sister. 2 years later we are still dating. Interesting way to start a relationship. Shaved a dude's balls. It was weird. I sucked my own D, or at least tried to, but just kinda licked the tip a bit before the pain in my back was intolerable. I took a girl's pants off with my teeth. I'm surprised I was able to accomplish it. Not something I did. I was playing with my girlfriend and a guy friend. He was on her right and I was on her left. He went up to get a glass of water. As my girlfriend took her turn, she chose Dare, and she had to kiss the player to her left. He had to walk between the two of us and he happened to be on her left when she had her turn. Even though he told us to skip his turn if he wasn't back in time. So he technically wasn't playing at the time. She decided it would be cheating otherwise. So she insisted on kissing him instead of me. I figured it was the game. So I didn't show that it bothered me that much. That kiss was longer than any kiss I had with her. And I saw his tongue. We broke up not too soon after. Completely unrelated. Edit. The guy friend ended up coming out a few months later. I pantsed someone I did not know in the middle of a hotel. I do recall being naked in a tree. Some bastard had a camera. But luckily it was dark and there was a decent amount of foliage on the tree. I made someone lick a school's doorknob. I didn't think he would get as sick as he did. Looking at the thread, it appears talking about True or Dare is a gateway drug to writing homoerotic fanfiction. Got my first experience of oral when my female friend licked pudding off my D in 9th grade. Edit. It was vanilla pudding since everyone seems to be wondering. Originally the dare was whipped cream but when that couldn't be found we resorted to pudding. Which was fine by me. Being dared to sing show tunes at the top of my lungs in the girls' restroom until I got kicked out. And I'm a dude. On the ride back home on a CTA train, I was with about 10 other people. One guy ate a spider web. One girl drank a Coke out of a trash can. I had to pour 5 water bottles down my pants. One girl had to put my sock in her mouth. One guy had to strip naked, but for a very short time. One girl had to do the worm across our entire section of the train. One guy had to put his entire body inside a trash can for 5 minutes. One girl, while walking back, had to lick a street puddle. One guy had to pole dance for 5 minutes on the train ride. One girl had to lick the train. Looking back I think I got the easiest and safest dare. Playing in detention in high school. There were old CRT monitors sitting on a table in the back of the room. I was dared to get up and carry one to the desk I was sitting at and when asked what I was doing reply I need to check my email. I was promptly informed that computer won't work and told to put it back and sit down. Was a good detention. At a party I was dared to straddle some guy while he was lying down and lick melted chocolate off of his face and neck until it was clean. It wasn't too bad. But now he's my best friend's boyfriend and it's pretty awkward. Edit. Sorry it was unclear, but I am female. My best friend's girlfriend was dared to make out with me in front of everyone, including my best friend. We did it and I still feel bad about it. Icing on the cake, she suggested a dare. Snorted a crushed cinnamon Altoid. Never ever do this. The pain was so intense. I swallowed a penny and had to make myself throw up when it got stuck. I folded when I was dared to eat it out of the toilet. Other than that, I pulled down my trousers and pants and ran down the street with them around my ankles and my meat and 2 veg waving around for all to see. Duck pants. And duck you. Ended up in a group 6 scenario. This one is awkward. I had a chance to kiss a girl I liked back in middle school during Truth or Dare. but due to my ducking shyness I ended up licking the tire of a car for not kissing her. Semicolon. When I was in college, a whole bunch of my friends and I rented a cottage for the weekend. We decided, after playing a few drinking games, to play truth or dare. The dares were pretty lame and I decided it was time to kick it up a notch. I began dishing out dares like 2 girls make out. Girls get into bikinis and hop into hot tub that was busted so the water was ice cold and pulling crazy truths out of people. Eventually it was my turn to be dared and to be good sport. I chose dare. The revenge was you get to maki over with eyeliner, blush, lipstick and earrings. All the girls will cover you with lipstick kisses and you must go home with this on you to your overprotective girlfriend like that. Needless to say, it was an awkward drive home from that weekend. If there is enough response, I'll post proof pic. Edit. Here is the pic. I'm sorry, I would have posted sooner but I was putting my daughter to sleep. To answer, the girlfriend was not impressed. And that was the point in the relationship that told me it was not going to work. I was young and naive to put up with her jealous personality as a fault of my own. Months later I would find out she cheated on me twice during our relationship. When I was in around 8th grade, my friends and I used to play truth or dare with my sister and her friends who were just a grade below us. We'd play strip truth or dare, meaning if you didn't do a dare you had to shed layers. This would lead to some pretty hardcore dares that were actually performed by the end of the night. This one girl, I had a crush on her at the time, definitely took the cake in most outrageous dare. She was stripped to just underwear and any dare she didn't do meant permanent nudity for the rest of the night. Naturally, me and my buddy dared her to stick a ping pong paddle up her ass. Needless to say, we never used that paddle after that. TLDR. During a strip truth or dare session girl takes ping pong paddle up the ass. I got married. It wasn't a dare. That's just how I met the girl. 10 years together. I almost hugged a girl. It was absolutely disgusting. I didn't do this but a classmate of mine did. We were on a class trip to Berlin. When it got late we started drinking and began to play truth or dare. So a girl asked a friend of mine to strip down butt naked and run across the hall at the hotel we were staying at. Needless to say we needed a new hotel the next morning. Reading through these comments has made me realize how boring of a life I've lived. Special brownies and a threesome. I was dared to keep 2 ice cubes in my panties until they melted. Well, I shifted, and one of the ice cubes went up inside my V. You know how. Sometimes, if you lick a really cold ice cube, it will stick to your tongue, and you end up tearing your tongue a bit. I was raw for a week. Edit. It was 2 ice cubes, not 3. We dared my friend to eat grass and say I'm a moo cow on camera. My friend had pissed on that same patch of grass a minute earlier. That same party I was dared to run out into the middle of the road naked with a stuffed teddy bear and pretend to duck it shouting I'm ducking a ducking bear at the top of my lungs. Fun night. I had to take a bite out of a bar of soap every time I swore. One colorful vocabulary later, and I'm throwing up bubbles. Family friends dared me to lick a frozen pole when I was about 7. They were about 10 and 11, girl and boy, ripped off most of my taste buds. They still bring it up at family parties. When I was very young, I played and I was dared to kiss a girl. Said girl quit the game. After several gradually more sexual rounds a girl dared me to jerk off, not wanting to jerk off in front of dudes, but understanding this was a good opportunity for a possible handjob or BJ I said, not in front of everyone. It went back and forth a bit, then she said something along the lines of alright, then just me. We went into the other room and I started jerking off and she was just watching, which was kind of weird. We were 15 BTW, but I went with it anyway. Then I was like I dare you to help me out. So she started making out with me, but because of how close we were I was just awkwardly punching her in the stomach as I was beating off. Then I followed up with I dare you to help me more, and she started jerking me off. And after a little more coaxing I got her to suck it for like 30 seconds and then she stopped. I ended up finishing myself off while touching her boobs. Came on her jeans, which as a 15-year-old is an awesome feeling. Then told all my friends and everyone called her a slut for a few weeks. That was my finest truth or dare moment. Told this story to Reddit before, but here it goes. I was 15. My cousin's fiance registered sign was 20. He was my normal drinking buddy when I went to visit my aunt in the summertime. Last summer though, he kept daring me to drink more and more. Long story short, I don't remember too much of what happened. He got me to play truth or dare with him and convinced me to fool around with him. It's the farthest I've been with a guy to date. Edit. I'm 16 now. My friend once ran around the inside of a church sanctuary completely naked, while her crush, 12 other teens, and myself watched. The priest, her mom, and a bunch of other adults were in an office that led out into the sanctuary, and we didn't know when they'd be getting out. I had a thing with this chick at the time. I went to her house and she had her 2 friends over as well as their boyfriends' crushes, who I am good friends with. Anyway, we decide to play some truth or dare. Starts off with kissing, making out. I get tired of that, so I just ask my girl if we could speed things up a bit. She grabs my D, starts doing her thing. Then eventually the game gets up to speed and my buddies and I end the night with our girls under the covers and us high-fiving each other. Wow, this one was a long time ago. So I went to a Catholic secondary school. Guess this is high school to Americans. And we went on a retreat to this manor house in the country run by some funny religious people. Needless to say, there were a lot of us who really weren't into the whole Jesus malarkey. So while we had reflection and meditation time, we decided to play truth or dare. It started out pretty tame. Dare you to kiss or touch each other's no-no area. But eventually we got bored. Now there was one girl on the trip who was really religious. Always telling us to praise the day. It like that. She was in the room next to us at the time. She preferred to pray alone. My friend looks at me with these sadistic eyes and says, I dare you to rest your D on her head while she's praying and say, well, whilst you're down there, love. Everyone stared at me. I could see the mix of fear and excitement in their eyes. Duck it, I thought. I stood up and marched into that room. I was sweating like a priest in a playground at this point. She didn't hear me come in. I dropped my trousers and whipped out my trouser snake. Holding it in my hand, I slowly lowered it towards her head. In my best Cockney voice, I said what had to be said and lowered my dong, resting it just on the top of her head. At first I thought she would scream, hit me or call down some divine intervention. Instead she turns round slowly, looks up at me. She just looked confused, then kind of shocked. To my surprise, she then reached out and grabbed me by the hose pipe, stood up and told me God would forgive me, spanned me round and pushed me out the door. It was a very strange trip. A friend of mine admitted to having sex with no less than 3 different men at one party. Threesome with wife and another woman. Other woman now pregnant. I haven't played truth or dare since I was like 13. But the moment I remember best was daring my cousin to lick 1 meter continuously of my dirty, grungy, chipped concrete basement floor. Not really hardcore as some of what I've seen here, but my friend shoved mini chocolate chip muffins down his boxes and I can't remember what happened next. Wasn't my idea. No idea how it happened. Duckin' weirded, man. Don't play truth or dare. First base. In other news, school isn't getting in fast enough. Buck ass naked on the top of a truck. Made my sklong whip around like a helicopter. That wasn't part of the dare, but it was the right thing to do. At 14. Got dared to kiss a classmate. She was in a relationship, but didn't mind. Quick peck on the lips. I brought up how I've never actually made out with a girl. She immediately volunteers to teach me. She does. Drunk on newfound confidence. I pull her aside later that night and ask if she feels like being duck buddies. Since your boyfriend is out of town, you could have the romantic stuff with him, and the sexual stuff with me. I swear to God, those were my exact words. 99% of the time, it would get you slapped. The odds rolled 1% this time. She responded by pulling me into the hallway and we sucked face for an hour. 2 days later, I've lost my virginity. Another week, and I've learned every sexual position I know today. A month later, she announces she's starting to feel guilty about cheating on her boyfriend, and decides to break it off. I'm fine with it. Lost my virginity and gained a no complications duck buddy at 14. All because of a single dare to kiss someone. God, I love that game. Wow guys, this is great. Thanks for all of the laughs and thanks for leaving some scars in my mind. Keep posting. I got laid because of truth or dare. I also ended up shaving a heart into my chest hair. Just to clarify, I am a man.